Hello everybody and welcome to City Skylines 2, where we've been expanding out over to the other side of the river over here. We've not come to a final conclusion on how we're going to handle the river on this side. We'll get there. For now, of course, we are working on getting this meta block all completed. I'm just now noticing we don't have a roundabout over here. We should probably get one in there. Technically, this should be one too, although it doesn't need to be right now. So we'll get that going for now. This already is one. We don't have any on-ramps or off-ramps over here, and so this is not currently accessible. So we're going to need to do at least some of those here. So let's get one-lane, one-way roads here. And we were going about out to, and I want to be on curve tool, around here, ideally. So it would have been, that works. This doesn't actually get connected in over here? What is happening? Why is this not connecting? Okay, that's mildly interesting. Sure. Let's get that out of there. This was intended to be connected. So I guess it really has to be back over here. I was previously able, maybe we were in a slightly different snapping mode or something. I was previously able to build it from this point here, but I guess we'll build it out like this way and see what happens. Sure. That's pretty ideal. Okay. So we want to do the same thing out over here, right? Approximately like this. That is definitely pretty ideal. So we want both of these to be on-ramps, right? Ish. Well, actually, hang on. I want to think about that for a moment. In this situation, these are both on-ramps, but they shouldn't be, right? They shouldn't be. This one really should be an off-ramp. So that gets flipped around like that. And then up over here, this one makes sense to be an off-ramp. This one should be an on-ramp. Like that. Okay, that would definitely make a lot more sense. So on, off. This is then off. This one would be an on-ramp. Like that. Okay. So this one would be off. This one would be on. Basically, we're just changing this side. And that's all of them for now. Okay, cool. So we're going to hop back down over here. This is an on-ramp. This is an off-ramp. That makes perfect sense to me. And now right up over... I don't want to have it be up there. Okay. Right up over here, we're going to want to have this be out to about here and bring it down like that. And then this would be up and over to here and in like that. Perfect. I feel like this is getting easier, or maybe I'm getting better at it. One or the other. Cool. So there's our on-ramps and our off-ramps for this meta block, but something's feeling off here. Of course, it needs to be up in this block. Okay. I knew that went too easily. Okay. So let's try that again. It's going to need to be here, bringing it out to here. Okay. So far, so good. So far, so good. Phenomenal. That's more like it. So we're going to want to do the same thing up over here, right? But for that to happen, what we really need here is an indicator of how far this is supposed to go out. So it's supposed to go out to, I think, here? Ish. Ish. That was, of course, not intended to be one way. So let's get that swapped over. There we go. So something along the lines of that. And we're going to need to do something about these crosswalks. Right. These are not intended to have crosswalks. So we'll remove the crosswalks here. There we go. And we'll remove the crosswalks right here as well. Beautiful. So that'll do for now. I want to just double check these out over here. Make sure that all the crosswalks have been removed. Yes. Yes. No. So these crosswalks need to get removed. There we go. These crosswalks need to get removed. Basically, pedestrians shouldn't be up here. So we don't want them to be up there. Phenomenal. That'll do for now. And that, of course, means that we can zone a bunch of low-density housing over here. Interesting. Yeah, it's letting us zone under the highway, which is honestly somewhat bizarre. It is somewhat bizarre. The question now becomes, what do we want to do with this space? We could go with a larger roundabout, to be honest. You know, it would probably look a little bit better. The space is wasted right now anyway. Here we might not want to. But in this area, I mean, not yet. But in this area, yes. Up here, we don't have, like, cross avenues just yet. So, I mean, there's still a lot of wasted space here. We'll figure out something to do about that. But for now, this is reasonable, I think. Just getting a larger roundabout there should be fine. It's just the size of the central island, but that may also help matters a bit there. So we have a bit of industrial demand as well. To that end, we could certainly... yeah, we do have a couple of points we could spend here, actually. Large roads? Sure, why not? That'll be fine. And then we can also expand out over this direction. May as well make this, like, full rectangular. There we go. So something along the lines of that. Then I'm going to, for now, delete this tiny little bit of Mill Avenue here. And this tiny little bit of Birdsong Street. Hang on a moment. You're actually curving down this way right now. Okay, we'll come back to that one. This is an avenue? No, you are not supposed to be an avenue. You can be Belmont Street, that's fine. There might be multiple Belmont Streets, but there we go. There's no water coming from the tap. Ah, do we have a pumping issue? 17%. So, no. Is the power plant offline or something? No. Our current capacity is simply not up to the demands of our growing city. Is that true, though? 0% usage. So I'm wondering if we go in down over here. Not enough electricity, not enough water. So I'm wondering, do pipes not automatically get built in bridges? That is something that might be the case. Also, this pollution is still here. It's been a little bit. I want to check in on this. Okay. This is taking a while to go away, but it does seem to be shrinking. So I'm thinking that perhaps pipes don't get automatically built in under highways in general. Let's double check that. So highways. Yeah, there's no pipes under here. You can see how there's pipes under the roads in these and in these. For highways, there are no pipes. So that's good to know. That means that we need to bring our own pipes over under these bridges. So, to that end, a combined pipe for fresh water and sewage, and we're going to just want to hook that in, like, over to here. Doesn't really matter where, I suppose. Is that actually hooked? I guess. Kind of wacky looking. I feel like we're on different height levels, and that's what's going on here. So let's see what happens if we were to bring this up and just page up it. No, it really doesn't want to do that. Okay, so just something like this. They should be combined, though. I also want to do the same. Actually, I really want to do it underneath the highway, just so that I know where it is. This is just kind of a random place to build it. So we're not going to do that for now. I want to build this out to go this direction and connect in there, like that. Then I want to build one that comes down this way and connects in like that. Cool. So we shouldn't have any problems with the highways over here. That should not be an issue. I want to grab this guy and bring it over. It doesn't really matter too much what the angle is. I just want to know where these are, right? So that should solve that problem. Now we have a power issue. So, power lines. Right. We've not built any power lines really thus far. We've got transformer stations here, right? And power lines move high voltage currents. These are low voltage currents here. So what we're going to need, I think, is we're going to need a transformer station on this side somewhere. It requires a road. So we may just want to build one off of, like, a very small road off of our dam here. And put it up, like, over here. This is potentially a temporary thing. We'll probably change it. And then we would put in a transformer over here. So then what we would look to do is we would look to bring a power line simply over to, well, we want that to get a little further, over like that. Okay? And then we would look to bring a power line. Well, we'd want to merge all of these high voltage lines together, in theory. So we'd bring this out like this. We'd bring this out here and then merge it in. Like that. And then we would bring this over to here, perhaps. It does not want to build that. So we'll need to get a little distance first and then build it out. So something kind of like this. It's horrifically ugly. But that would work in theory. We're not able to bring this over this simple street.
Me and my sister love you. Oh, that's
remarkable.
Y'all got clarinets.
I guess we have to go up a little higher.
But you got
yeah, that does work.
Music these days ain't.
Sure. Seems fine. And then we'll just bring that right along here.
Let's see here.
Connecting it in theory, here. Now, the question is, does that give us a link to this transformer from here? I would assume it does.
But I told her that ain't
but we'll find out. So this transformer is now connected, which means that we need to get power down here. So at this point, we're going to have to run a power line, and we'll have to, like, prune back this power line as we go along. So from here, we would bring our power line. Well, actually, the power line would be transmitted via streets, right?
And onto our main feature story.
Right.
The commercial district is booming as the area is attracting more.
So in that case, kind of our best bet here would be to bring a street up over this way for the low voltage power conduit. So we would want that to come up over here. And this is kind of becoming our Riverside Drive, right? So it would come up over here like so. We may redo this here and there. But for now, we just need a temporary connection up here. That's giving us overlapping items. So we're probably going to need to... Okay, this area is definitely going to want to be redone. Yeah, I definitely don't like that. But there we go. That should give us a power connection, in theory. Yep. Phenomenal. Okay, so that's interesting. No doubt about it. That's a very strange way to do that, but whatever. I mean, I do like the differentiation between high and low voltage. I think that that's pretty cool. I do want to get this road going out over here, though. So I want this guy moving out up over here-ish. And we're just looking to put this road in over here, right? That can go here. And then it would get merged in kind of like that. Okay. So that'll do for the time being. Now, I do want to go back to the straight road tool. And we would build this guy right up over here. That's invalid shape and slope too steep, huh? Okay, well, we could definitely knock back these sections of road and redo them. That's reasonably fine. So then this guy would come out over... I think that was wrong, actually. Okay. Approximately here. There we go. And then this one would just come on up to here, like that. This road would go straight on up, like so. And then this one would connect over right here, approximately. So that gives us this meta block functionally complete-ish. So that's good. We can definitely zone some more low-density housing over here, since apparently that's necessary to zone all the low-density housing. Cool. So we can just do something like this, right? And this situation here, we would want to extend Heather Street back out to right there. That is not reconnecting our pipage. Okay, noted. So we would need to knock that back a bit and then reconnect our pipe right there. Okay, that'll do for now. Phenomenal. Hopefully that's enough low-density housing to keep things good for a bit. That's a lot of low-density housing, no doubt about it. Now, this just made me realize we don't have any, like, Wi-Fi over here, so we probably do want to have some of that. So we would put a radio mast. It does require a road. I was going to say that might be a good use of this, but requiring a road is definitely something that it does. We could put it right here, and that'll give us good coverage over, well, basically this whole area, right? So that'll be fine for now. We are apparently lacking pedestrian access over here. I don't think that's true, personally. But whatever. Apparently we're lacking it. And it's not actually getting construction progress, presumably because it has no pedestrian access. So now it's getting construction progress. It was rebuilt and it still has no pedestrian access. Whatever. I'm sure it'll be fine. So we can see there's high rent down over here. A higher zone density or different zoning might be needed. We can also see that there's a traffic jam out over here, with these guys attempting to merge on to the Butler Highway. And this doesn't surprise me, considering the fact that we currently have a severe lack of highways. We need more of these things. Out of curiosity, as a theoretical question, how would things go with a small roundabout right here? I don't know. That might simplify things slightly, but it also might slow down the traffic too much. On-ramping here is clearly difficult. That's for sure. And I think ultimately, this doesn't help. So let's get rid of it. It was a thought. It's not a good thought. Yeah. They're clearly moving through better without it. So it was a thought. It's not a good one. So what's going on here? Oh, they're trying to on-ramp over this way and off-ramp over here? Oh, that's awful. If only we had traffic manager. I would set lane assignments so this wouldn't be possible. For the time being, of course, we're seeing traffic jams on virtually all of our ways to get on and off of the Butler Highway. This is, well, this is to be expected, to be honest. This is our only real highway through the majority of our town over here, and it's our main thoroughfare from this highway down here. So I'm very unsurprised that this is happening. Very, very unsurprised indeed. What we need to do, of course, is we need to start working on, like, Evergreen Street here and getting that upgraded to the same sort of situation. Now, that'll require moving things like the road maintenance depot, like the chemical plant, like the college. That'll be expensive. We are making money, so that is a good sign. But that will be expensive. Once they're on the highway, they broadly move pretty well. This is another one of those things that should be forbidden, actually. This turn lane here, they should not be allowed to do that. This should be straight only. This would be merging into this lane. if I had control over the lanes. You would not be allowed to go this way from here. That would not be a thing. So, yeah, it clearly needs a little work. We're getting a pretty big traffic jam due to on-ramps and off-ramps. So we can definitely make the argument that we need more on-ramps and off-ramps. We can also make the argument that we need fewer people on the Butler Highway. That's the other argument, right? So that would essentially mean upgrading Evergreen Street. And also upgrading Birdsong Avenue here. Birdsong Avenue is an interesting candidate for upgrading. We can also get, potentially, another thing that we can do is grab this tile, and this tile, which I'm going to do. And what that would allow us to do is create a direct through line from, well, what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to bring these back a little bit. Back to about here. And I want to bring this highway up. So the Butler Highway, it can remain elevated. We're going to pull that off of there for now. The Butler Highway would be a 4-lane, 2-way highway. And we want this elevated for now. That's going to go right here. And we're going to bring that out to approximately, that's 91 and 89. We need that here. Okay. Approximately to right here. And then we would just bring this down like so, right? This is an invalid shape overlapping items, but we would bring it down to be approximately here. Did that go down? Yes, it did. Okay. And then we would have this be the 2-lane, 1-way highway. And it would go like this. And like this. Okay. So that gives us a little bit of extra space there. However, I actually want to take this out a little bit further. And we're going to bring this down a little bit earlier to about here. Link it in like that, like it was before. This is correct. And then from here, yeah, this definitely is going to need work eventually. But from here, what we can do is we can run... If we just want... I'm thinking about whether we want to have inbound and outbound traffic doing this as well. But for the moment, I think what we'll do is we'll run a highway out over here. And this will have to be changed later, most likely. But a highway out over here that would need to be eventually elevated. So we may as well elevate it now, or at least get this section of it elevated and bring it out like so. So we would just bring it straight on out to be here. Like that. And then I don't know how far over this should be. So let me run a quick check here. 559 meters. It's oddly specific, but okay. So 559 is... Oh, this is very awkward indeed. This isn't telling me the actual distance. Okay. So let's start it from here, and 559 meters would... Or actually, I'll start it from here. 559 meters would be... approximately here. Okay. We'll probably have to rework this a bit. What we could do, I suppose, is bring this guy out and just create some markers. We're going to need to build these eventually anyway. So we can do something kind of like this for now. We're not intending for this to be a full block development at this time. But that would be 1, 2, 3. This would be number 4. And then this next one would be where the highway would be. So the highway would, of course, go right here. Like that. It would need to be about there. Looks good. And then that would eventually come up here and merge in. This is the section that's going to be needing to be replaced later. But that would just, with the curve tool, come on up and curve in, kind of like that. Now, I'm going to toss in a small roundabout here, and I'm going to toss in a large one here. Or I guess a very large one. Okay, so that's definitely imperfect, but I'm hoping that this will pull some of the traffic up onto Birdsong Avenue. We'll see how much of the traffic ends up actually using it. It'll take some time for the pathfinding to update, especially as people start getting through these traffic jams. But yeah, this is unsurprising that we're hitting traffic jams here right now. Very unsurprising indeed. What's our population growth right now? 250 per hour? Okay, that's not bad.
Recent spikes in
that is not bad at all. So we are seeing some traffic coming up this way. It's not a lot. But yeah, ultimately, I think that our biggest problem here is just we're overloading these poor on-off ramps. And that basically means that we need more throughput, right? And that is absolutely the plan here. But we're not really in a great position to do it at this moment, necessarily. Now, we could certainly extend this guy out a bit. And then this guy would get extended at least as far as it can. Out over like here. Like that. And then we could have on-off ramps here. That's not a terrible idea.
Not exactly what an increased death rate.
Let's do it for now. So this would be a roundabout here.
That's a wild.
This would be an on-ramp.
Are you trying to make people
and we would bring it up over here.
Did you say panic? She said panic. The death rate is
and then down over here.
We've got to get out of here.
You go.
Approximately here would be fine. It's a little squishier than this one over here. No doubt about that. I'm going to try that one again. Let's see what we've got here.
Business is doing well. That floats our boat.
That slope too steep. That works, though. Okay, we'll do it. So that's fine. And then up here, let's put in an off-ramp up over here. And then an on-ramp up over here. Slope too steep, overlapping items. Yeah, I'm not shocked about that. Snapping is being a little rough here. Let's try bringing it out this direction and then flipping the directionality. Yeah, this'll work. It's not going to be perfect, but it's fine. So we'll need to flip that directionality like so. And that will hopefully keep more people on this highway longer because they're going up this direction. That's the idea, anyway. So we're going to need to continue to upgrade all of that, right? But we are seeing the traffic start to clean up a little bit. Honestly, a lot of it is lane management, though. This traffic would go a lot better with different lanes. This traffic jam is still a thing, but the rest of it is clearing up nicely. So overall, I think this is broadly significantly better, but we'll get there. It's still a work in progress, very much so. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we'll continue to expand out over here, and we'll probably look at upgrading Eversong, or rather Evergreen Street. That'll require moving our high school most likely, as well as a few other things like our post office. It'll be a thing. It'll be a thing. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Shadow Wolf, Andy McGar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12 UK, Kentogan, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.